I want to thank y'all for coming this evening. We'll go ahead and get started. I know most everybody wants to go home too when we get through. So I want to thank y'all for coming on short notice like this, but hopefully there is some production come out of this meeting that we all get on the same page, maybe. I want to thank the Moore Community Center and Shelley for letting us use the building. Really appreciate it. I believe there's a sign-up sheet back there in the back.
Yes, there is, for anybody that showed up.
Darla, when we get through, can you email me a copy of that?
Sure.
Okay.
Or Shelley or someone.
Okay.
Oh, y'all need more things, I'm sorry.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Richard Graf. I'm the County Commissioner for Precinct 2, at least through December. We invited the Precinct 2 Commissioner-elect to attend. I don't see him, so hopefully he'll show up. It would be nice if he was here. Also, this is Joseph Sindon. He's our county attorney.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us.
If we have any legal questions, there he is.
There he is.
Mario Martinez just came in, and he is the commissioner-elect for Precinct 2, and he'll start in January. So. Last week I got, I want to say about a dozen phone calls from various people that living in the area of where this solar farm is supposedly coming in. I would like to say that as of this date, we still have not been formally asked or told that a solar company is coming in. Don't get me wrong, I don't doubt at all that they're coming in. After what Darla told me and everybody else around there, I get it. They're probably coming in. However, they're not obligated to tell us that they're coming in. They're not obligated to make any formal presentation to the county unless they're going to ask us for an abatement of some sort. And based on all of the information I got, it will be my pleasure to recommend to the court that we do not give them an abatement. I mean, everything seems to be overwhelmingly stacked here against either you people who own property in that area, environmental concerns, agricultural and wildlife concerns, whether it be hunting or whether it just be enjoying it as a way of life. I think some of the other questions that came up or concerns were traffic concerns while they're constructing all of this, long-term health concerns. Big thing I think more than anything was probably property values dropping while after this is done. So we're not against one of the things that came up was, and I think from everybody that called me, and I got about a dozen or so calls, was that we're not necessarily against the solar farm, but we don't want it that close to us. It's not. There's nothing good going to come out of that. Everybody is concerned about that. So I agree with all of the concerns that were brought to my attention, the ones that I just talked about, even some of the ones that I didn't, because a few of you have one concern, somebody else might have one. These were all general from everybody that called. These were the concerns. I did a little bit of research and I spoke to a geologist, a biologist, rancher, hydrologist down in Goliad, who's had some experience with solar farms before, making presentations to commissioners' courts, making presentations to several different organizations about these. He assured me that all the concerns are valid, and he said that if you need some help with this, he said, I'll be glad to make a presentation in your court. So He's kind of in my back pocket in case we need him for a reason. But again, I just want to assure y'all that I will make a presentation. It came up in Commissioner's Court under general discussion last Monday that this was going on and that the residents around and in the immediate area want nothing to do with this. And commissioners were all very attentive to what I had to say. We're very anxious for this meeting to happen so that I could get back to them with the input. I told them don't expect a different outcome because I think it's going to be the same thing I'm telling y'all right now. But based on all of that, I can assure you that I am going to recommend that we do not give out any abatements to these people. That being said, I'm not sure, most of these companies, I think, need county abatements in order to make their money. Now, I'm not positive of that because there's so much happened in the last 6 months with these climate change bills that are in Congress that they didn't increase the incentives over last year. It looks to me like they're about the same, but there could be something hidden in those bills that I don't know about. I mean, the thing is this thick to try to read through it, and then to decipher it after you read it and understand it is hard. But based on that, they could come in and still put a solar farm anywhere they want to, from what I'm gathering. They can receive as much opposition as they want, but if they decide to do it, I don't know what legal standpoint the county has to prohibit it. We don't have statutory, regulatory statute, any type of regulatory statute that would keep us from having it come in. As long as it's on private property. I'm sorry?
Does the state regulate it?
The best I can tell, the state does not regulate it. ERCOT is the only regulatory authority that I've been able to find so far. Now, that's if they obey the laws. If they don't, TCEQ can get involved in it, and other agencies throughout government can. If they violate laws, then that's a different deal. We're just talking about if they're not violating any laws. And obviously, if they violate the laws, sometimes it's too late. Like our water system, ecosystem, things like that, before we know it, it would become too late to actually, maybe even to repair it, I don't know. But as long as they follow the rules, I'm not real sure that the county has any legal authority. That doesn't mean that citizens don't. I mean, they can take them to court, I guess. And from what I've read, there are agencies that represent citizens for that, and they will tackle them. I don't know what the cost is, and I don't know what all of the steps are to get to that. But Darla Mike can tell, maybe find out more than I can because she works in a legal office. So, but that being said, that's kind of where I want y'all to know where I stand with. I'm with y'all on this. Hopefully, if we don't give them the abatements, they agree to move it somewhere else. And when we're talking about that abatements, I mean, in this particular company with in this particular location is what I'm talking about. If they were to move to a big ranch where there is no neighborhood.
That's where they ought to be. And that's where they ought to be.
Exactly.
No one would ever know they're there.
Well, that, and they wouldn't have any objections, so, I agree with you.
And the only people they're hurting is that ranch as far as their deer hunting.
Right.
Their aesthetics, the whole 9 yards. She looks down on top of it. I look down on top of it. He looks down on top of it. She looks down on top of it.
Right.
It's within 200 yards of our back door. And we're looking down on top of it.
Why would anyone want to do this to their neighbors?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Has anybody, I'm sure this has happened 100 times before, has a county ever rejected something and actually followed in was able to say, the solar companies were like, okay, now we'll go somewhere else? Or do they just go in and do what they
Want me
need
to
to
kind of explain the process?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll kind of run you guys through the process. Frio County has approved, I think, 3 or 4 abatements. But again, all of these abatements have been approved on a large ranch where there weren't subdivisions and houses and kids and schools and everything right next to it.
No
So
opposition.
there was nobody who complained about a single one of them. So this one is different. So what normally happens is these companies are looking for a few things. 1, they're looking for sun, which we got that.
Right.
2, they're looking to be close to major transmission lines, which run right up the 35 corridor.
But that transmission line runs for
Correct.
100 miles.
Correct. So what they are probably doing right now is they are probably talking to multiple landowners, and they are trying to see where they can put a farm that's going to make financial sense for them. So a piece of it is the sun, proximity to transmission, price of the land, and then the 4th part. And again, the 4th part is where the county has control. Because again, we all like to live in Texas because we don't have a lot of regulation. The government kind of lets us be and we get to do whatever we want. Now the hamstring of that is the county, we don't get to tell a lot of people what to do. If somebody wants to, put a smelly pig, or whatever you want to put out there, you're largely allowed to do it unless you really upset your neighbors. And this is no different. The county doesn't have any regulatory authority to stop them, but what we do have is we have the ability to tell them, we're not going to help you pad your bottom line. So if they come to us and say, hey, we want 80% tax abatement, the commissioners can say no. And what will usually happen is they'll find another plot of land or another county who will honor their situation, and they'll end up asserting themselves into that place. Normally, my experience has been if they do not get a tax abatement, they are not coming.
Can I pause you?
Of course.
Richard's got 4 months left. What's the rollover? Where's the new guy at? I mean, what's his thoughts? Richard's against it. He agrees.
I
What are
can't
the
tell
other
you what
three
his thoughts are.
commissioners?
I can tell you that while I believe, and again, this is just what I'm telling you what I believe, okay? If you go leave this and say, Joe Sindon says the judge said this, or the commissioners believe that. I can tell you we're largely, pro-industry, pro-growth, good things coming to our county that generate tax dollars, but we're also we don't want things coming in that are going to influence our way of life in a negative fashion. So I think most of the court is very open to the idea of having these opportunities come in, but we don't want them hurting our neighbors. And I can tell you most of the court feels that way.
But 3 months left.
Again, that's the nature of politics. We have elections
I
and
understand it.
yeah.
This is a 3 or 4 year approval before they decide to approve or deny it, right? I mean,
So they say-
They go faster than that usually.
that's what they've said so
okay.
far.
Okay.
I mean,
I heard 3 to 4 option, 3 to 4 year option.
Right.
They could do it sooner than that.
Well, best I can tell you is, there's the saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And that saying, I go by that saying every day. If somebody doesn't want to return my call, I bombard them with phone calls. They don't want to deal with my problem, I show up at their office. Gets results. So all I can tell you as citizens is the best thing you can do is, I don't mind if you call me. Judge doesn't mind if you call him. Commissioner Graf doesn't mind if you call him. I'm sure our new commissioner is going to feel the same way. So best I can tell you, the best thing you can do is keep apprising the county of what's going on and what the situation is and what your feelings are.
Can the new commissioner-elect speak and let us know how?
Sure,
he
Sure,
feels
if he
on
wants to.
this?
Yeah.
Mario, you want to address it?
Sure. Well, hi everyone. My name is Mario Martinez. I agree with everything that they're saying. I mean, Commissioner Graf and Justin put it pretty good. For the most part, I'm with everyone here. I mean, we're here to. I'm not saying here that we're going to please everyone 100%, but I think in retrospect, we want to look out for your well-being. I truly believe that if it's going to affect your, and trust me, I'm a builder, so when it comes to home values, we do want to keep them up, and if it is going to affect your home, I wouldn't be happy to do that as well. So everything that Commissioner Graf has said, and hopefully in the future we can get together, and obviously he's going to pass the baton on to me, so hopefully any research that he has done, I will continue to further educate myself on that. But I'm with y'all. Whatever we can do, I'm not saying we because I'm not there yet, but whatever I can do to further educate myself and hopefully in the near future, figure out what's the next step. What's the next
A lot
one?
of unhappy residents.
Yes, and I mean, again, unfortunately, you can't satisfy and please everyone. But I think if we all come together, there's something that can generally be done. I know, and again, everybody's looking for that monetary compensation. So if the money doesn't make sense for them, which is the tax abatements, I'm all for it. There's no reason to give them that tax abatement if it doesn't please every single one of them.
Are you going to push against it?
Yes, of course. If it's something that I generally it impacts everyone and everybody feels the same way, I truly feel the same way everybody up here has stated. So again, he's our current commissioner. I know he's doing a great job and looking out for everyone here. And all I'm going to do is just follow right behind him. So, but again, I won't take office till January. If y'all have any questions until then, or even before then, I'll be happy to address anything. I can't do anything. I'm sorry and I apologize. There's nothing I can do, right? But I can listen. I'll be happy to listen.
Well, I think the main thing was we wanted to know if you were for or against.
Oh, yeah. And like he said, it's going to take a couple years. And if it takes 4 years, I'll be gone by then. Or I can still probably be there.
That didn't answer my question.
But yes, to answer your question, yes, ma'am. I am all for the betterment of the community.
But that wouldn't push you.
Still didn't answer my question.
That wouldn't
Well,
push you.
to not have a solar panel that's going to impact everyone, that's something that you don't want, I'm all for not having it. I mean, if this is something that everybody...
places to build.
Exactly. So maybe we can offer or suggest something else, right? If they come in when I'm in office, I mean, if they come in next month, that'll be up to the current commission.
Has anybody talked to the company that's doing this?
No, ma'am, we have not been approached by them yet.
So, yeah, Kinsel has miles and miles and miles of land he could put this on. Why right center in the middle of this small community is my question.
Have to ask him.
I
He's the only one that knows that answer.
wonder though if he was approached first. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that you'd be out soliciting for a solar project, right? It just kind of makes sense. The transmission line is in close proximity. I was hoping he came, but.
The funny thing is I'm surrounded by it.
Well, no, I'm-
And it goes right through my property, the High Line. I was avoided secretly. I feel like it was intentional. Because they knew I was going to be wanting to fight. I was not told about this until the day surveyor showed up.
This was all initiated about
Right. And I never was told.
I'm in this industry, not solar, but in the electric industry. I mean, these are all, it doesn't happen without the subsidies, first of all. You know what I mean? And with you alluded to it earlier, the current agenda push for green and great and everything else, so what's going to have to do is more and more and more of it.
That's what I'm saying. We stop at this time, what's going to keep us from not stopping the next
I'm
time?
just wondering if anybody's ever stopped.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I've got a question.
Go ahead.
So, we don't have anything in the county ordinances to stop it.
Well, the county doesn't have ordinances,
Well,
okay?
we don't
What?
have ordinances.
Who gives the county power is the
Okay.
legislature in Austin. They decide what powers we have.
Right.
Right.
So, one thing that this, Frio County is very unique. Frio County is the only county in the state of Texas that has a clause or a law that governs our ranchers to fence the cattle into the property,
Okay.
not fencing against like everywhere
Mhm.
else in the state of Texas.
Okay.
So I think that makes Frio County a unique position, is that Is there any way that if we get people in Frio County involved? Now, this is something that I had a conversation that they said, well, there's already a 10-acre solar farm down here by the plant right there next to town. And I said, well, and he said, what's the difference? Well, there's a lot of difference between 500 acres and 10 acres. First of all, 500 acres can create more heat. Proven fact that the black solar panels are going to have a reflective heat that's it can change in the immediate area. I'm just talking about within maybe a half mile or 2 miles. It could be a mile radius. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I haven't done any studies on it. But I do know that everywhere I've seen where they put in 500 plus acres, it's usually 15, 20 miles out in the middle of nowhere. In Martinez, there's a big farm between Martinez and Odessa. And so you're not, and then going from Anson to Hamlin, there's another one. But it's 25 miles from town. You just drive along, all of a sudden it's just a bunch of panels out there. So I don't know what it is, but I do know that when you start generating electricity like that in an open environment, it's going to affect the whole environment. It's not just going to affect a little small area. It's going to trickle down. So in the future, I mean, what would we say if this was a nuclear plant going in? Because radiation is radiation. Electricity is electricity. And that's all.
Sure.
And so it does.
I think those are all valid concerns. I can tell you that I know all our commissioners. I know our incoming commissioner well, or not as well, but I've began to know him. I can tell you they're not interested in hurting people for the bottom line. And I can tell you this, politicians don't like to make lots of people upset. Because then, then we got to deal with the upset nature, and we have to, we don't like that. So again, we're not in the business of doing something that's going to hurt a large group of people solely for the bottom line. And I know the commissioners are going to, at least the ones that are on there now, are going to hold that line for what it's worth. And I really, unless there's the financial framework to these things changes, I don't see them coming anywhere without a substantial abatement.
Right.
So that really is the hammer that the county has.
Got a hammer
Right.
in place.
We will. I'll be sure to let them know.
We have one commissioner that says he is against the abatement. We truly haven't heard from the other ones. Worst case scenario, this farm comes in. What does that do to my insurance on my house? Because now I have to worry about catching on fire. And what's that fire department going to do when my house catches on fire because of the solar farm? Are they going to be able to come save it and save my ranch? And then all the roads being written up, going up and down, that's Frio County taxpayers. Not just more people, that's the whole county that's paying to redo that road after they rip it up. But wait, I paid for that because I'm a Frio County taxpayer.
Well, and that's where they want it, off this paved county road, so they don't have to build roads. If they put it out in the middle of a big ranch, in the middle of 10,000 acres, they have to build a road to get to it.
Sure.
Here, they can use our road. Our road's already torn up enough. We don't need any more truck traffic on it. Everyone missing the way station comes down our road.
Yeah, we're trying to go around it.
We don't need any more traffic, but that's why they want it here close, instead of out in the middle of a big range. They have to build all-weather roads to get to it out there. Here, y'all are building roads, we're building roads, people of this county.
Sure.
We're paying for their roads.
You're right.
But it goes farther behind just our little community. It's the whole county that's going to have to
Yeah,
pay.
Oh, exactly.
So
And
you're
they
right,
need to
dealing with the
know
oil and
that
gas.
instead of we're affected, they're also going to be affected.
No, and I do believe that this commissioner's court, and I believe that Mario also feel, they're all aware of that. It's not like they're got their head in the sand on this deal. Like I say, I can't speak for commissioner's court because we haven't put it on the agenda yet, and we can't until they come forward with it. However, I think we all feel the same way.
The thing that's shown in the back is actually with the energy company.
No, I'm not. I went to water. I spoke to two owners today. I spoke to the owner of the 493 acres he's requesting in his request for service. I asked him a few questions, and he assured me that he is not building a solar farm. It's strictly a residential service that they're putting in. They're transferring the service from the current ranch owners to themselves, two brothers. They formed an LLC to buy the ranch and use it as a family home. 493 acres. I spoke to that person, and just not even 30 minutes ago, 35 minutes ago, I spoke to another person who borders my land, on the backside of my land, and he has leased about 200 acres to a solar place. So the land directly adjacent to mine is going to be a solar farm, and from what the man told me on the phone today, the 493 acres down Black Creek is not going to be a solar farm. Too fast. I mean, just thank you for what it's worth. What people told me. I talked to those two guys today. No, it does not belong to Dan Ginsburg.
That's on the other side, that's on the other side.
That land does not belong to Dan Ginsburg. And the people that bought the 493 acres, like I said, it's two brothers, they formed an LLC, and they're going to run it as a family farm. They assured me there is absolutely no industrial purpose to that 493 acres.
Well, they never were in the mix on that. That's the only one that's in the mix.
So those two things I know. Those two things I learned today. The other question I have, is there empirical evidence that putting in we have documentation that is going to lower that? Does anybody know?
That's what it is.
Yeah, so,
And I talk to a lot of people and they say, would you want to, if I was selling my place now, knowing a solar farm will be on all three sides of me, I'm surrounded by it. Would you want to move out here? Everybody says absolutely not. So how would I sell it now if I want to?
They put one in Uvalde, right by the airport, several years ago, and within the year of it becoming active, everybody's like that. Even though we were told, no, it's like actually going to increase it, we're bringing in revenue, but it actually decreased their revenue. Now they're in
My next question is, what happens when the company goes broke, which a lot of them do? They go bankrupt. It's a landfill right there? Does that become a landfill all around you?
That I couldn't answer. I mean,
They're having problems finding
Because
where
they're-
to dispose
right.
Yes.
solar panels.
I think you're right. I mean, from what I've been able to,
The same with the floodings on Windsor.
right, that's,
They're usually contracted for long-term contracts, so they'll stay relevant up until that time. Most of them are like 20, 25, 30-year contracts.
Right.
So there's subsidy money coming in that whole time to keep them established. Now after that, it depends on someone renews it, the lifespan of the panels is 20, 25 years. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
But the wind ones, you see them jamming,
Right,
driving
right.
down the road, they just stay like that.
Yeah, but for the solar panel fact, we're not there to 25-year solar farms yet, so nobody knows.
And nobody knows the long-term effect of these solar farms either,
Blue-
living in it.
So if there was some research to be done, Blue Wing has been established for about 12 or 13 years in San Antonio, one in Walsall. Maybe that's a place to start.
The other thing is we've got two major tributaries of creeks that run, Black Creek runs back over here, and it also runs behind my house. So both of those places have creeks running through, so if there is any contaminants that over the years could fall out. You may not see it for 20 or 30 years. And so I would say that that's another concern.
Do they need water? All these farms?
They don't have to have water, they just have to have sunlight.
That's it.
That's it.
You gotta clean house, they lose their productivity.
Right, well, you got.
Don't give them water. Cut the water off.
But my point is just, if there was some contaminants get into those creeks go all the way into San Miguel, right on down into the.
I mean, considering these panels are made out of pure silicone, I mean, y'all know what silicone does and stuff, it ain't exactly something that just falls apart. I mean, it's a lot like a lot of the material you have on aircraft and stuff, they don't just fall apart. And in the Army, we tested solar panels. Those things, when they get damaged, we just toss them away. Because it's cheaper to just buy a new one than it is to try to fix the old one.
Yeah, but they go into a graveyard, just like the.
Yeah, they just dump it.
When the
And it's not just our military, foreign militaries do the same thing. When I was in England, we helped test them over there. And it's not something that you just get rid of. That's how come all the blades on these wind farms are just tossed away. Because the materials that are used in them, a lot of times they're more toxic to get rid of than they are to make. So they just toss them.
And what if the company goes bankrupt?
You were out.
Stuck with it?
So can we all say that this is a good start? This is a good start to the discussion of what are, these are good questions, everybody has good questions. And I think this is a beginning of I'm not gonna say a fight, but not giving up on our values, on the property values, right? So I think, like the gentleman just spoke up, I mean, there's so many facts we don't know for
Well,
certain
it's property
here.
values, but it's health values too.
I agree, and a lot of that, I think we can all come to an agreement that is an issue. That how many is going up, we don't know what exactly and where and how. There's so many questions that we have no answers to. But that we're on your side as to be here to support each and every one of you, I think we all come to that agreement. But I think it's a good start.
It's something they haven't done yet, there's solar glare assessment. This needs to be done. That has to do with TxDOT, I-35 regulator, they're looking down on it, he looking down on it, I'm looking down on it. This has happened everywhere they've ever built one, solar glare assessment. And they haven't done it.
And the cancer assessment.
I don't
I'm already a
think
cancer
it's
patient for two. We don't need any more, okay?
We don't need this.
It will lead into the ground and has enough carcinogens in it that we will be injecting. Will not breathe.
Anybody else that's got any comments?
Just suggest to them to move it somewhere else out of the way.
Promise that will happen.
Front page newspaper.
I can promise you that will happen.
Yeah. They put it in the
I'm sorry?
They'll probably have a lot of lawsuits on their hands if they go ahead and
Future lawsuits for sure.
There has been no formal presentation whatsoever.
Actually, I have one from today. I can tell you, I don't think those projects have been in development for 3 to 4 years. They happen pretty quick.
The ones that we have,
Maybe
18 months at the most. Yeah. One of them did it in a year.
honestly, they were feeling around before they came to us, but we didn't see that.
So I'm wondering, if they do put this thing in here, what would be the incentives? Are they trying to, like, let's say they put one up here, you're the top right here. Trust me, I live right next to that land, and I got 2 little girls. And I'm not the landowner now, but I am gonna inherit this land in the future. To be honest, I don't want some random people working out the pasture, where ain't nobody around for miles near my family, and I don't want this damn thing anywhere near my house. But my question is, what kind of stuff are they gonna do that makes it sound nice to y'all of saying, hey, we're gonna tie this into y'all's power grid or some shit? Because here's my thing. We've already seen how effective these things are in the last snowstorm. So we argue to try to put these things here, they ain't exactly useful. Like, I'm sorry, can't get rid of coal. So we argue to say, haven't even tried to put it here? Should be null and void just by saying, look at last year's storm. These,
But you know,
there is,
the problem with that is,
I
I agree. The other half does not agree that way.
I get that.
I'm not pushing you that way.
Yeah, I've seen both sides that have been in arguments. You've argued both sides of all this crap. But my whole thing is, what would it take for them to argue with y'all to actually make it sound like it's a good idea? Because you all know how we say it is. But not just you, but the other ones. Because the way it sounds is only 1 of 3 here. So this is a democratic, Republican system. So 2 to 1 wins. So what would it take to get them on their side?
I can't speak for anybody else, but I can tell you that I'm not gonna change my mind because of y'all. I mean, I don't see anything, there's a lot more to this than money. And they can't sell it to the local, they can't sell their energy to the county. It goes to the ERCOT, and ERCOT distributes all of the electricity to everybody. They can't make it. There's nothing that I can think of, period, that would make them change my mind.
But can ERCOT make me change your mind? Because ERCOT's.
I don't think
Only the
has a
commissioners-
say on it.
only the commissioners can decide whether or not to give them a tax abatement. Nobody can force them to do it.
Right, that's up to us whether we do it or not. And
It's not our regulatory. Independent power producer is what else is.
So what if they come in and they say, we don't need a rebate?
That's
the issue, that if they do that, the county is pretty much, I mean, we don't have any type of regulatory authority over these people. They're independent,
Yeah, why can't we get that?
I'm sorry.
To get regulatory statutes in place to do it, that would take a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have to come from the state tax.
See, I think the state is.
Well,
I
and
can't believe they're not.
Well, what I would tell you, call your state senator and your congressman. They're the people that would have the power to give us the power to do
Roland
it.
Gutierrez is our state senator, and Tracy King is our representative. And those are 2 people that need to hear about it, because I'm gonna send them a letter. And I'm gonna tell them that we're,
Yeah.
Can't come in with so many feet, miles, whatever, for these communities and the people.
And not in the
200
neighborhood.
yards from
Yeah.
my back door.
no, they put them in next to schools up in Dallas and Fort Worth and Houston. They're right next to schools, and people are fighting them. So,
The airport uses them because they're an easy way for them to get away with it. Airports have plenty of open land, but in theory, nothing should interfere with it because the plane shouldn't hit them. So,
I'm surprised they wouldn't solar glare.
yeah. They just,
They would
I
not
would
say
say,
anything.
I mean, I'm with y'all, I own property, and I don't own next to me.
Well, Kendall doesn't want to make Sam either.
Where he lives, at least. It don't matter to him.
Exactly.
So my question is, thank you all for coming.
Yes, thank you.
What, as a community, are our next steps? Some of the stuff, as Darla called my attention to it, and I dove into it, I did see that at the last legislation session, there was some bills introduced that never made it past the floor to give local counties authority. So my question is, as a community, are we going to take this further and go to the state?
Yes.
Okay, this is when I want to try to, do y'all have advice? But, like, okay, we're here, you've heard us, you can empathize, but what can we do to continue this fight?
I think Darla had a great, she suggested, do we need to get a petition? Well, I'm not sure that the petition is going to do anything, but what can it hurt? If all of y'all sign that petition and send it to Tracy King and Roland Gutierrez and tell them, look, this is it, and we need somebody to speak for us, that can make a difference. And I think that's a good point.
And my attorneys wrote a letter asking the company, where are you wanting to put it, blah, blah, blah. They asked all these questions. We haven't heard a word. They're ignoring. They were not very nice to my son-in-law, meaning when we called them. Pretty much hung up on us because they didn't like hearing our opposition also. And that's when they hung up on us. So they're not very nice to talk to.
With all of that, I think,
So I don't want that as a neighbor.
right, all the signatures sent to the company. I mean, that's a place to go with it also. And like I say, I would love to have a copy of it.
The letter?
Yes.
Okay.
So that I can put it, I can bring all of that to Commissioners Court so that all the commissioners are aware of what's going on with y'all.
I think the petition should be a letter to your representatives at the state level, and then have people sign it, and see how many signatures you can get on that.
I think that's a great idea. Really good.
I just think the state should be in charge of this.
If they can do it that easy on us, they'll do it on Billy, they'll do it on your phone.
Right. No,
They'll do it on anybody.
it's like I said a while ago, that this is coming. I mean, with the,
You don't need to Google a Sierra Club. If you don't know what a Sierra Club is, you don't need to do research on that. You just see what's coming down the street.
but with the change, with this push for climate change and this push for green energy and things like that, this is gonna be a regular ordeal. I don't think
But
it's,
the green energy is not perfected yet.
I'm not arguing that point at all. I'm just saying that I think we're gonna deal with this from now on.
So one of the things I can say, we all have skin in the game. We live here with you guys. Our families live here. We know, we had a brainstorming session the other day, so we were trying to think of ways to, improve Frio County and pitch Frio County to other people to, have people come live here, businesses come in. And the thing we always came down on was, what do we have? We have our country. We have
Yes.
our wilderness. That's what we got. We love hunting. We love fishing. We love doing all that stuff outdoors. That's what we all have. It's a bond that shares. We all share. We have constantly been vigilant as a court and a county on making sure. And again, I can tell you, we want to talk about green energy and not green energy. I can tell you this: they're all energies are driven by money. All right, every single one of them is like a plague of locusts, whether it's oil or gas or wind or solar, and they're coming to take what's ours, and it's our job to make sure they do it responsibly and act as a watchdog to that. And I can tell you, we have done it with disposal wells when we've been trying to protect our water. Every time we've had a concern that we thought was going to bother the people or bother our environment, the Commissioners Court has stepped up and done what they've had to do to stop it.
And on that note, so
Yes.
do your research.
Yes.
You might change your costs.
But all the other entities, there's regulation. They can't drill an oil well 200 yards from our back door.
The problem is rules and statutes lag behind technology, right? We have all of these things that
There's no regulation.
Right,
That's
but
the problem.
it lags. It always lags behind technology because the technology comes out and then we find out, oh, wait, there's this bad part about it, and then we have to fill in those gaps. Unfortunately, it takes time to catch up. It's just
That's why they say clean energy. Seriously.
They can be regulated like everyone else.
But it's clean energy, so it's safe for you. Seriously. I mean, I can have a oil spill with a solar panel, right? I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just telling you.
They
They're so new that nobody's got anything. They haven't got any data other than the capability.
And sadly, I'd rather look at an oil well than a solar panel where.
But even they're regulated, like I said, they gotta be so many feet away from residents, property lines, all kinds of things. You can't even drill a water well, within so many feet of a property line.
That's why we're saying, talk to Austin, call your representative, call your senator. They have the power to give us the tools to possibly do something about it.
Like I say, I think it's so new
part of it.
I think that's some of it.
And then part of it's the, this falsehood that it can't possibly hurt you, which anybody with half a brain knows that's not true about anything. Too much of anything is bad for you.
When the Democrats get out there, their money's gonna dry. This is all free money that's flying around today in them helicopters, pounding the ground and this and that. That's all free money from the government. That's not coming out of their pockets. That's given to them by the government. And the next election, that's gonna change.
As far as clean energy and climate change, everybody's tried this old comedian James Gregory says, for the past 100 years, some summers have been hotter than other summers, and some winters are colder than others. It's always been a change. So it's all crazy.
Well, another way to look at it, I was having a conversation with my dad the other day. Everybody's grandparents have always been saying the world's going to end, and the kids these days, and we're all still here. We're all still kicking. We're going to be all right. We'll figure it out. As long as we work together, and as long as we be neighborly and nice to each other, we're going to get through it. But we just need you guys to be our eyes and ears on the ground. That's what will help us. Let us know what's going on, because we wouldn't have known about this had you not brought it to Commissioner Graf's attention.
Well, it says an average of 5 to 7 degrees warmer. I don't want to be the average.
Well, I sure want to thank y'all for coming. I really appreciate it. I know all y'all got 10,000 things that you could be doing, but it was really nice to have all of y'all turn out like you did, and for the input especially, because it's nice to know. So, thank y'all very much. Yeah, please sign the sheet, and can I get a copy of that, Shelley? Good deal. You just need that. Thank y'all very much.